the Bergquists. And we're going to call this Bergquist 2.0 since they were gracious enough to be here in February with Birds of Prey. So I don't know if they agreed to come because I sounded weepy on the phone or anyway, you can blame Leslie because she's gone, and so I had to make sure we had a full plate in March, and so Leslie, sorry she's missing this, but she'll be back with us in April.
She emailed me the other day and said she watched the video.
See, she's thinking about Tuesdays, so we are so grateful to have you here, and it should be an entertaining program. And if you don't subscribe to Wyoming Wildlife, Frances has an article in the March issue, and so I will leave it up here on the chair, and if anybody who doesn't get a chance, please browse through it. It's great. So,
Okay.
2.0, take it away.
What we've got this time is hummingbirds and baby animals and butterflies. That's pretty much what we got here. Now, we weren't sure how interested people would be in butterflies, but if they're not, we'll buzz through them fast. But oh, they're pretty good. Hummingbirds. We have four species in Wyoming pretty regularly. This is a broad-tailed. It's the one that a lot of people think is a ruby-throated, but it is not. It's a broad-tailed. They look a lot alike, but they're a completely different bird. The ruby throat is further east, mostly on the other side of the Mississippi. The broad-tailed is the one that makes the funny trilling sound when he flies, and it makes a noise. Go ahead and see, there's that red on his throat, or purple, or whatever you want to call it. If the light isn't right, it'll look black, and the light's just right on it, and it just lights up. And most hummingbirds are that way. They don't show anything until they got the light on them. That's one that was sitting waiting for the feeder to be emptied. It's cold. Yeah, there he is again. But they always look like they're humped up. There's a female that's feeding babies. This was taken down on Saratoga Inn. Gosh, I can't think of the guy's name, Jerry.
Palin.
Yeah, Jerry Palin. Yeah. He found it. It was right outside his window. So Bob Randall called me and come take the pictures. But those baby ones were as big as she was almost. They kept stretching the nest out. Good morning. They're fun to watch. They are fun to watch. Yeah, there's one that came a little earlier. They don't seem to mind. They hummingbirds will go into a state of almost like hibernation. It's called torpor, and their heartbeat, when it's cold at night, their heartbeat goes down to very little, and they'll just sit there and sleep. And then when it gets warm in the morning, they'll come to again. Now, once in a great, I don't know what the next picture even is. Oh, that's a female. I'm not sure what she's doing there. Got her mouth open like that. I think she's trying to catch bugs. That's usually what they're doing when their mouth is open. They don't open it when they're on flower. Yeah, now there's the one was on my feeder, and it was just sitting there. You could have picked her off. She was sound asleep, and it was cold. And later on in the morning, she came to, took off and flew. You know. But I had never seen one on a feeder before. This was long after daylight. There's how they drink the juice. I don't know if everybody realizes, but they don't suck it up out of a feeder or a flower. They lap it up like a dog almost. Their long little tongue goes in there and they just lap it up. They come into my water and they do take a bath, and not regularly. Or if they do, they always do it right away in the morning, and before I get a chance to get a camera set up. But it's kind of fun to watch them. Boy, the water flies when they get in there. Now the next one, go ahead.
That's fine.
Yeah, it looks like she's dead in there, that she was taking a bath. There's a female, and that's on a, we bought last year from, was it Lander? And it's a, good Lord, I can't think of what I want to call the flower.
Daylily.
Huh?
Daylily.
No, the state flower.
Oh,
Paintbrush.
Paintbrush, Indian paintbrush, and they have it in a little sagebrush, little pot. And gosh, it took right off and it bloomed and bloomed all summer long. I don't know if it'll come back this year or not. It doesn't really look like our paintbrush, but it supposedly is, I don't know. The hummingbirds loved it. Yeah, there's one that was sitting on Greg's finger. I think it was Greg's or yours, I don't know which. But he had feeders up in the Seminole Mountains, and it's kind of like you guys, he feeds by the gallon. You know, he's got, I don't know, 20 feeders up there. Now he doesn't have that many anymore. But he'd get all 4 kinds, and he's always planting flowers or pulling flowers and putting them in water or whatever and getting a different look. But he's got a lot of them up there. I always thought that was share and share alike. There's our Rufus. He's probably the nastiest little bird in the country, but he is fun to watch. If you got a feeder in the yard, he owns it. It don't make any difference if he's the last one to get there. He owns it. He'll run off everything. He'll chase everything out of the yard. Robins, he's chased them around. But
What kind did you say that was?
Pardon?
What kind did you say that
Rufus.
was? Rufus.
R-U-F-O-U, I think so he is. Yeah, he's pretty. I like the Rufuses. And that's another one of these. That one was, he liked the daylilies in our yard, our Asiatic lilies, I guess they are. And he'd almost have to crawl clear down in them to get nectar out of them, but he liked them. Most birds don't mess with them. There he's on a salvia.
Pretty.
And then there's another one right in front here, out of focus one. Oops, that's all right. But see, now it doesn't really shine red, it's more of a gold color, his throat. But he is a character. Go ahead. Oh, I got a lot of pictures of Rufus. I must like them or something. Got a lot of them there. That's tough to get them that close. But, oh, that's what I put that one in. See on his forehead, he's got it's all full of pollen. And he's got it from some flower. Up there where he was feeding, about half the hummingbirds around there would come into the feeder and their whole head would be full of pollen. And we never did figure out where they were getting it, where it came from. But they were pollinating something. What have we got there? What's another Rufus? Yeah, there's another one.
Wow.
They got along just fine. There's one that's a female, but that's on a Rocky Mountain bee plant. Boy, that's one of the best hummingbird flowers there is. They really like that. I got the,
Oh, neat, there's a bee.
that hummingbird don't like that wasp very nice. I didn't even know the wasp was there till I got it. There's a little female, there's some females. That's on my honeysuckle vine. We have a big honeysuckle vine in the backyard, and that is a hummingbird attractor. In the summertime, I don't use a lot of nectar because they're always on that honeysuckle vine. There's on the gladiolus. There's a calliope. That's a little bit different one. Do you get the calliopes up there?
We've only seen 2.
Yeah, you know.
They're a lot smaller, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. Smallest bird in North America.
And they don't stay up there. I mean, you might see them one day and they're
Yeah.
gone. It's
Yeah.
like they're just traveling through.
They're very timid to the other hummingbirds around, and they don't mess with them unless, usually when I get them at home, it's when it's just about dark outside, and then they'll come to the feeder. But they are tiny. I think I've got a picture in here. Yeah, there it shows on a TV show that we watched on Yellowstone, and they had pictures of these calliopes displaying for a female, and they were sitting sitting on a branch, and they fanned out that throat patch, and they looked just like a little flower. Just went around. It was really cute. But I've never seen them do it. Of course, they don't nest here. I don't think. I think they nest further north.
But we're not on Yellowstone either.
Huh?
We're not on Yellowstone either.
No. But see, he's got the same thing. He's got the pollen on his forehead. Yeah, there gives you an idea of the size of them.
Oh,
I had that, this was an old picture, and we were in Rollins, living there yet, and this little Hummer would come in and land on the clothesline, right by a clothespin. So I moved another clothespin into closer so I could see what it looked like, and she landed right there. Gave me the picture. But about half the size of a clothespin. It's pretty small. Not much of a bird. There's a black chinned. Now, here, well, here, the calliope or this one, but this is, if I see one or two a year, I've had a good year. When we had our place down at Savory, they were just as common as broadtails. So do you get a lot of black? Yeah, we don't get them very often here. Maybe I don't get them, I don't know. But they come, the male comes early in the year, just about every year, but just for a day or so, then it's gone. Yeah, that's a female. That's the black chin female. She came, well, this was last year, I think. Not sure.
I think these are so pretty because they've got the stripes, the black spots, you know what I mean?
On their chin?
Yeah, they just seem like they stand out. Kind of says, here I am.
Okay, now that was the end of our hummingbirds. I put a few other pictures of different ones. That is a broad-billed hummingbird that I took down in Tucson, and I like the way she just framed herself in amongst them flowers, or he, I should say. That's a magnificent hummingbird, they call it. It's got a different name now. They changed the name on it, but I don't know what it is. Still magnificent to me. But they're close to the size of a swallow, so they're a lot bigger. That's Acosta's. They're kind of look almost like the calliope with the way their feathers fan out, but their feathers are purple. That's an Anna's. I took that in Tucson too. Their whole head is red. I think that's the kind you got out there, don't you?
It's the kind we see, yeah.
Yeah. See how their headlights. It looks like he's got a stick right through him. I don't see that. Okay, we've got into some baby animals. All right, we switched into baby animals. It's a little jackrabbit. That's something I don't find very often, is a baby jack, but I don't even remember where we got that. It's been a long time ago. There's a little cottontail. Look how he's eating the dandelions out of the yard. But I don't see, I'll back that up just a second, Wayne. He'd nip them off at the bottom. That was the only reason I took his picture. He'd nip them off right at the bottom, and it was just like a popsicle, and just suck them in. I said, man, just keep eating. Eat them all. That is a pygmy rabbit. They're out here in the desert. They're about, when they're adults, they're about half to three-quarters, maybe the size of a cottontail. But they're not very big, but you don't see them very often. In fact, they didn't even know they had them here for a long time, and then somebody found them, and there's quite a few out there. We went out with a gal from the BLM, asked me if I want some pictures of them. So we went out, we looked all day and couldn't find any. And the last place we stopped, I walked up into a little bunch of bushes there, sagebrush, and here was one sitting in a hole. But this is a baby one here, he's not very big. Oh, we got a hummingbird.
Yeah, I think we got
We got mixed up. This is at your place. When you lived in in Redlands. And a hummingbird's taking a bath on a leaf, and you can see the water running off. That's a little hot, cost us, but beat herself. Okay, now we're back into baby animals. I don't know if anybody knows what that is or not. But these are just some. Now those are tiny, they're just for.
All legs.
We'll just keep going. There he's laying, so that's a good picture, antelope and Indian paintbrush behind it. There's some little red foxes. There's one of my favorite pictures. I think that looks so cool. But I don't know if I put the next picture in here. Yeah, that was the same pair. And evidently that pup pushed it just a little too far. Looked like my wife when the kids would do something.
I was thinking the same thing.
Foxes are one of my favorite subjects, as you can probably see. Okay. That is a thrift fox. They're little, roughly the size of a big house cat. And these, I think, these we got out in the desert. They're up north of Medicine Bow. There's an area where there's quite a few. But these are out in the Red Desert, go out to the uranium mine, and from there over to Wamsutter and find them. They are the cutest little babies. You get to see that little guy's pissed at Mama. She's messing with him. She's licking him, and she wouldn't leave him alone. Every time he'd do something, she'd lick him. You know? He wasn't happy with her.
Oh my gosh.
But she had 4, but I can never get all 4 of them together in a picture. Oh, prairie dogs. I like that because there's, what, 6 or 7 in that picture? I don't know if they're all the same litter or not, but they were all on the same wall. This next picture is kind of, yeah. There's a well-fed prairie dog. I've never seen one like that. I don't know if he's old or just, I don't have any idea. I've never seen one before, never seen one since. There's a little elk, little bitty guy. There is the only picture I've ever gotten of small badgers. We were going on the Seminole Road, north of Sinclair, and the female, these 2 little cubs, they're not any bigger, oh, I don't know, not anywhere near as big as a football even. And they were interested in what I was doing, and she did not like it. She'd go out, she'd run, she'd make a big loop, come back to buy them, and woof at them, and they just didn't pay any attention to her. They stayed and watched us. That's the only ones I've seen them 3/4 grown, but not little like these guys. There's a little weasel. We shot this, we were down at Walden. Bob Randall and us, and this, there was a group of them. I don't know how many, never did know because they were all over the place, but this one would keep coming to this hole right in the middle of the road. The ground squirrels had a hole and they'd come up.
Oops.
There's a little bighorn sheep. That's an old picture. That's something else I don't have there. Anyhow. Little bighorn sheep that I took up in the Seminoles. Now, maybe somebody else knows better than me, but I would guess one of them is a little buck and one's a doe. I don't know. They look different. Their forehead is different. Their face is different. But I don't know if they. I actually don't. Yeah, twin fawns. Everything. Yeah. They are cute. There's a white one. That was taken down at on the Deep Jack Road last year, I think, or the year before. It's not an albino. It's just lutistic, I think they call it. It still has dark eyes and a dark nose. It's not as white, but
What do they call that?
lutistic
Lutistic.
mule deer. I think that's correct. There's some mountain goats, mama and her baby. There's kind of an interesting one. That little guy is a complete albino. And probably some of you have seen these over at the driving range at Saratoga Inn. they used to be, and almost every year there'd be a bunch of albinos. But I think they've taken them out. I don't think there's any left. There's a little wild horse that we took. Not much you can say about them, they're wild horses, that's about it. I'm not a horse person by any means, so I don't get too excited about them, but they're cute. Okay, there's a monarch. I'll get into the butterflies. This one is completely adult. I think we started them out. We had a Janice for several years, was raising them. They're kind of almost endangered. Monarchs are they? So many of them got killed a few years ago in Mexico when they had a hard freeze where they winter. But they winter in middle of Mexico, and they go as far north as Canada into the milkweeds and raise their little ones. And it takes 3 generations from the time they leave down there to the time they're heading back. It's 3 generations. And the same thing when they go back. How do they know where they're going? You know, they have nothing to lead them. It's all instinct. But I thought that was very, very cool that they can do that. A lot of butterflies do that. Those that do migrate takes longer.
What is the lifespan for a monarch?
2 weeks,
You know, I don't know.
6 weeks.
Can't be very long.
It's not long.
They get, some butterflies will last over the winter here, but as a monarch student, I wouldn't guess it's over 3-4 months, but I don't know. Doug, look it up, will you? Got your phone? That's a good question. I didn't think about that. Go ahead. That one is laying an egg on a
Milkweed.
milkweed in my lawn. She started laying, she laid her eggs, but I think with my sprinkler system, I sprayed them off or something because they never hatch. But there's the milkweed, and there she is on that there. She's laying eggs too.
So it says here 2 to 6 weeks, except for the last generation of the year, which will live for 8 to 9 months.
Okay, well,
Wow.
First, the 2 to 6 weeks, except for the last generation of the year, which can live for 8 to 9 months.
oh really? Oh,
That's
cool.
interesting.
I didn't know that. Okay, now, this was Janice's project. She would gather, we had a place up by the Sanger unit where there was a lot of milkweed, and you'd go up there and get an egg or a baby one. But this one, she happened to get a leaf with an egg on and hatched it, and there they are. There was 2 hatched, but look at the difference in size, and they're,
You'll see
Oh,
over
God,
here,
hey.
there's another egg over here, over here in the corner. This one.
oh yeah,
Yeah, these are 2 different,
2 different sizes.
yeah.
Are they the same species?
Yes, they're the same, they're
Yeah,
monarchs.
they're monarchs.
Uh,
They don't have their, oh, go ahead.
When this egg hatches, you almost need a magnifying glass, because it's almost like a hair. It's that small.
Yeah,
But this is about a week old. And then this one has to be a little bit bigger
Yeah.
before it'll cocoon up.
now that's an
An adult,
adult
Not a-
larva,
yeah.
I should say.
yeah.
It's big as he's gonna get. And they extract, I don't know if you'd call it poison, out of the milkweeds, but nothing will eat them. No bird or anything will eat them because they taste horrible. I guess, I never tried them. That's called J-hooking. And that's he's ready to go into a pupa. And see, there you can see on the bottom, it's starting to,
And this happens within seconds.
yeah, you gotta be on the ball.
You'll also see how the skin is splitting here. And that'll split before the cocoon comes up, because this skin, then the butterfly grows from inside that skin. It'll push that skin, and you can see already
The
how
legs
it's.
and everything go, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch.
Really
It really
is.
is. See, there's one that's just about ready.
And you can see the legs and stuff are up here, where it's pushed. That's
There's
the
one.
backside. Okay, so then this is completely done, and it will take till the next day, oops,
We got another one in there.
to
There,
get the gold rings around them. And you'll see them, hung in different weeds and stuff where it has a stout enough branch to hold this cocoon. And then after about 2 weeks, you'll see them, and the cocoon starts to get dark. And you can start seeing the butterfly in them. And then the next one here is, this is a few days before he hatches. And there he's hatching.
That is amazing.
crawled out of it there. They look so funny when, well, there's a good picture. It looks so
Wow.
funny.
And you'll see they're all wrinkled up. And it takes them a couple hours to pump the fluid into the wings to make it.
Their body will be big and thick and it's full of fluid now.
And you can see here,
There, he's already got himself.
he's got it all, and then
See, there's
here's
his
his
chrysalis up there.
chrysalis.
It's kind of interesting if,
I have fun with them.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you
The
get
only thing is, if you want pictures, this all happens within, it seems like, the cocoon, coming up, the green coming up, and the hatching, all within minutes. Don't go to the bathroom. I sat one full day waiting for this one larva to start his procedure. And I went and I said, he's just sitting there, nothing's gonna happen. And all of a sudden, I said, well, I'm gonna quick go to the bathroom. I come out and by golly, he was green. So if you want to watch him, you have to sit with him.
Where do you get the eggs, Janice?
I go out in the milkweed.
Oh, okay.
And if you
Wow.
go out in the milkweed and you turn, they'll lay them underneath the leaves,
Okay.
not on top, so that they're protected, from the rain and stuff. So
Sometimes you catch the female laying eggs or see where she's at and then it's really
You can
easy
do
to
that.
find them. They're not very big.
And the ones that I did for one summer, I joined this University of Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas, and they had tags that you could put on your butterfly so that they could trace them to Mexico. And that was fun, and I put them on, but that was also the year that the freeze.
Yeah.
And they hired the locals down there to pick up the butterflies so they could get these tags back. But I never heard if any of mine were picked up or anything.
I thought they were supposed to let you know.
Yeah, they did, they were supposed to, but they never did. But
They
it was
said-
kind of fun, it was just a,
They said that the dead butterflies under those trees was almost a foot thick. That many of them. Just millions and millions of them died. They haven't caught up yet either. Okay, that's a fritillary butterfly. And don't ask me which one, because I don't know, but there's roughly 30 species of this butterfly, and then there's a whole raft of subspecies under that. So keeping track of them is, now one thing, back up just one instance, notice that eye. It's a compound eye, and I was reading up on it, see if there's anything interesting in the book, and it said that if they have a compound, I don't know how many eyes is in that, but they can't see well with it. They said if they were looking at a video, all they'd see is bright colored spots here and there, so they get to their flowers. That's all they recognize. That's the same thing, only outside. And there's a different, see, it's different color, different species. And that one's, I know some of it's light, but they're pretty, they're neat, but there's a zillion of them up in the mountains. That is a great spangled fritillary. I had never seen one until a couple of years ago. We were up with Greg up at his feeders, and there was some not milkweed, thistle there. And there was 2 of these. They're big, they're as big or bigger than a monarch.
As you can see, we do take just potted plants up to get different flowers on them.
So they don't all look alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's his folded up wings. That's a pretty
You
butterfly.
should be able to tell the female from the male with these silver spots, but I have never figured it
Well,
out.
the ones we had, I think, were the same thing. I like that picture, look at there, there's 3 butterflies and a bee on that. Couple of, if thistles weren't so nasty and, but they spread so bad, I'd like to have them in my garden. That is a tortoiseshell, Milbert's tortoiseshell, and they are pretty. They're not very big. They're, maybe 1.5 inches across. But when we were up last summer up at Greg's camp, this one was flying around there, and I got a halfway decent shot. There is a comma. They call them a green comma?
Oh, just
Oh, wow.
And see how they fold up, how they disappear, what camouflage they got?
in the
That's
top.
on the side of a tree, and it just disappears. You can't see it.
You can see there why. Here's their comma on the hind wing
That's
underneath.
why they're named. There's another one, looks almost like, they call it question mark. And it's got a different, I don't know that.
Question mark though.
That's a painted lady. They're pretty common. There's another one, that was a little prettier one. Okay, are we down to moths already?
Mm-hmm.
Going through that faster than I thought we were gonna. That is a, all right, what is it?
Range.
Huh?
Range. Oh,
Great.
isn't it the range? No. I don't know.
I don't know, I can't remember what the name of it is now. One way you can usually tell a moth from a butterfly is look at the antenna. The moth has
yeah.
feathered out antenna and what the heck is the name of this? Let's see, there it is. That's a different one. I don't know what that is. It's a moth. They fly around up in the mountains during the day. Now, what that is, I don't know. I did know the name of it, but it looks, I thought it was a walking stick, but it's not. It's not. There is a walking stick bug. But this was up, well, the same place where we got the butterfly pictures in.
I was taking pictures of the butterflies. And as I was going, and all of a sudden I seen this stick moving. And it would start up the stem. And I thought, well, that would be a neat picture. That ant's got that stick. I wonder what he's doing. And I said, Francis, come here. And that's when I took pictures and we had to go home. And the only thing at that time we found was a walking stick. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Well, we put it on my Facebook, and a guy from where I grew up, who lives out in Oregon now, said what it was. I didn't think I'd ever forget it, but I can't remember. But anyway, it's
We're
kind of
getting
different.
old.
Huh?
We're getting old.
I'm getting old, we are there.
But we kept it mainly, it's because it was such a surprise for me.
Wow.
Okay, now that's white line sphinx moth. That's the one that we call a hummingbird moth. But when he folds up, he looks just like any other moth. There he's drinking out of my hummingbird feeder. And I think the next one's on a flower. Yeah, see, they look just like a hummingbird. They buzz in and out. In fact, I think a lot of times they're mistaken for hummingbirds. But see, look at how long his proboscis, I guess is what you call it. That was up there in the mountains and the thistles too. There was, well, Greg said the day before he was at the thistles, there were 4 or 5 of them in there. I usually don't see over one at a time. But All right, now we're getting into a few butterflies. That is an anise swallowtail. And I don't see them in town here, but we do see them up in the mountains. That is, yeah, there's a male and a female. You can see the difference. You know. I'm not sure how you told the difference. That's, can't remember anymore. I think it's the amount of black or something.
I think it's this here.
Might be.
I
Might
think
very
this
well be.
is.
They're not as big as a tiger swallowtail, but they're decent sized butterfly. Now, is that a pale?
Mhm.
That's a pale swallowtail. Like, looks a lot like the tiger swallowtail, but he's almost white background. Kind of a light tan, maybe. you'd call it.
Almost off-white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There he is again. Now, that's a really pale one. That might be the light on the picture too. There, they call it puddling or mudding. And the butterflies will get down in there and suck up, you can see the water down here. They'll suck up salts, they said, the book says. And those are all males. And when they're breeding with the females, they pass that salt into the female, and that helps her, or helps the eggs. I don't think it fertilizes them exactly, but it makes them stronger. But that one we got right there, we got 3, 4 tigers, and there's one pale there. This was up in the Seminole Mountains, north of Sinclair. There's a tiger. There's a western tiger. That's a black swallowtail. We don't get them very often here. That came from South Dakota. Yeah.
Brought him home, an egg home.
Egg,
Raised.
yeah. They almost completely, their little ones are raised on, well, this is a dill plant, but dill, parsley, carrots, anything in that family. That's where the caterpillars were raised. So there's a male and a female then.
This is a little easier because you can tell
Yeah,
the blue.
easier to tell. Yeah. There is a tiger swallowtail larva. That's just about as ugly a critter as you can
I thought it
find.
was cute.
We just don't find them very often. They're up in the trees. That's a black swallowtail larva that's just hooking up. He's gonna form a cocoon.
But
See how he's fastened?
I
himself?
didn't explain is before they'll be coming along here and they'll put this down, so they'll excrete here, and here this comes out, and so that they can hook through the J-hole.
They'll hang right there
Wow.
till they hatch again. See, that's the cocoon, what it looks like.
And that's different, each one is different.
That's our last one.
Yeah.
Boy, we went through that fast, people. I didn't mean to,
Oh, great.
but that was the last one. So if anybody's got any questions, we'll answer as good as we can, but this is not our expertise.
This
Mine
is-
anyway.
This is kind of our bottom half of our,
Yeah. Yeah.
Francis, how soon do the hummingbirds come back?
Well, they should be back usually by the 1st of May. A lot of times the last 3-4 days in April, depending on the weather, that they'll show up. The males will show up. Females will be a week or two later. But yeah, they'll start here in a month, a little more in a month. About
They'll
a month.
show up between the 5th and the 10th
Of May.
of May.
Up at the cabin,
Yeah.
yeah. But they're earlier than that.
have you ever tried oranges, Leonard, up there?
No. No.
I was often wondered if they would eat, go into oranges, hummingbirds.
I mean, I don't think so.
Our feeders are, John's feeders are 72 ounces and they will drain 6 of them in a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. I know Greg, when he goes up to Seminoles, he takes gallon jugs of it
Now-
and goes up there 2-3 times a week.
Do you boil yours, Leonard?
No.
No, he doesn't, Greg doesn't either.
Supposed to, they say you should if you're using a lot of it. I mean, if you're not using a lot of it, but if you're using that much, I don't have time to sour.
So what flowers are best for a planting to attract your little butterflies?
Good question. The hummingbirds?
Either.
Either. I think probably the best one is bee plant, bee balm. There's 3 or 4 different colors, they're a perennial, and everything likes it. Butterflies, hummingbirds, they all like them. What else? Coneflowers. Coneflowers. And then, gosh, I don't know, what's that?
And you can, if you want, if you're looking to attract monarchs, you can buy the tame milkweed.
Mhm.
In-
But they don't come to our yard much, and we've got it several places.
What?
Milkweed.
Well,
I don't know why that is.
yeah, but you water too much.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
That could be. Yeah.
I'm curious as to, in general, how much time you spend getting pictures.
Yeah, I've been doing it for the last, I don't know, 40, 50 years.
So in the summer month, how much time do you spend out?
It all depends, but
Last
I would say we almost always do some every day, unless the weather's cloudy or rainy. But as far as, I might go out one day and spend 8 hours, and the next day I spend 8 minutes. You just never know, depending on what's around.
I used to believe or tell him, now we're going to church, you can leave your camera at home.
Yeah, but I didn't do it, did I?
No. He always had his camera. It was like you leaving the house with your billfold and your purse. He just,
I was trying to think, there's another flower that's good. Well, I had it a minute ago and I forgot it.
there's a red, what's those red flowers that we have, and we gave them to Becky and
Oh, well, I'll tell you, my mind is.
been there, done that.
What the hell is that?
Gets worse.
And they like hollyhocks. They like hollyhocks. They like just about anything. There's a few that they never go. And how they know, I don't know. But that new one we just started, blazing, they call it a blazing star.
Yes,
It
that
grows
was,
up on a stalk about that high. It's got a big fuzzy pink or red top to it, and everything seems to like that one. But if you really want to know, get on the internet and just ask that question, and they'll give you all kinds of stuff. And you should, if you can, kind of stay with native plants, and they'll be much better.
and we, to get them going to one plant or the other, we will take a eyedropper or something and put a little extra fluid, just to get them into that plant.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, to get them used to
if
it.
you want them to come to a flower, you just put a little nectar inside it.
And they'll come back to that flower because they think there's a lot of, and they do get nectar after a while, but sometimes, if you don't,
My body's saying it's not enough.
if they don't get nectar right away, they won't come back. But if you put some in there and entice them a little bit, and that's always fun,
It's almost, for us, it's more of a,
game.
yeah, it's almost a game to see because they're not, neither, the butterfly pictures aren't very valuable. The baby animals, none of these we sell very many of. Hummingbirds we do, but we just do it because we like it. It's fun.
How many different hummingbird species do
We
we have in
have
the valley?
4.
We have
We
4?
have 4.
In the valley,
Hmm?
in the valley, she wanted to know.
Yeah, in the valley.
In the valley?
Yeah. Now, they won't be here all the time, but migrating through and stuff. There's rufous, broadtail, calliope, and black-chinned. Now, once in a great while, another one will come in from the south, but it's not something that's here anyway. The other 4, I think all, I don't know. I don't think know if the rufous nests in the state or not. I'm not sure, they go
Never heard
further
of it.
north, I think.
What did you say the second one was?
Uh,
Broadtail?
Broad-tailed,
Broadtail, as in,
that's the one we have, the red throat.
okay,
Broad-tailed, calliope, black-chinned,
and Rufus.
and rufus.
Do you find that they leave for a week or two in the middle of the summer? And come
Doing it
back?
over and over.
Seems like our feeders will stay
Oh, yeah?
full until the middle of June, and some will stay, but the rest of them will kind of migrate somewhere, and then they come back in about 2 weeks. So we get a 2-week reprieve of not having to fill 6 or 8 feeders a day.
That's fun when they got them like that, so. I don't have a lot of hummingbirds in my yard. I never have a lot, but always a few. Yeah,
What hummingbird has the white on the very bottom of the tail when they spread it out? Is that the broadtail? The
I
broadtail.
think so. I'm not sure without looking. Have you got a,
Yeah, just a
you've
minute.
got a picture that might do it? The first one.
My ancient computer here. Go on and ask the next one.
It's interesting that they don't, the babies really don't have a beak when they're first born.
No.
They look like caterpillar.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
And then they look like they're dead, and you're thinking, and you come back 2 hours later and they change position in the nest.
That nest looks like about a half a walnut.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your There.
Tech support.
Is that the one you're talking about?
No,
No.
I think she's, that's,
It kind of looks like white scallops on when the tail's spread out at the very bottom of the tail.
Try a rufous ones. What color was the back? You notice? Green?
They're green.
Green, yeah.
oh, that's a rufus, that's,
I'm not sure which, it almost has to be a, oh, there's got white on the bottom, but that's a rufus.
that's a rufus. That's, it's brown.
No, that's, you know.
There,
Oh, this one here,
yeah,
That's it.
that's rufus, yeah.
Rufus.
Oh, on the very tips of the
Yeah.
tail? Oh, okay, okay. I see what you're saying, yeah. Yeah, that particular one's a female rufus, or possible it's a young rufus from the year, but hard to tell apart.
Now, see, that's the only picture it shows it.
Yeah, so that one shows it.
Antennas get through.
Here, you can see him at the bottom here.
Looks mean, though. This one.
I'm pointing to the screen.
Yeah, yeah. So is the nest woven or is it glued together with little stones and
It's held together with
sticks?
spider webs.
They're real soft.
Are
Yeah,
they?
real
They're
soft.
how big? Like,
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, well, they won't
I've
have one.
got one in a display
They're
case
put-
that I set
They're
on the
put
table.
together
People
with
can look
spider
at.
webs so that the
Down off
nest,
of plants and stuff,
so that the nest
Wow.
can grow.
yeah, with the
See, as
babies.
the babies grow, they'll
Oh.
push out the
Oh.
nest.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they
And
will
that's
use
one of
that
the main
nest
things
again.
that,
I
They
took
will.
one down because it was done, so I wanted to make a display out of it. Well, they come back and reuse them. Till the snow takes them out of the tree,
Yeah.
they'll use them again.
huh.
but it's kind
Do
of
you have a lot of
interesting how
nesters up
small
there?
they start out in the
They
yard.
nest.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't found one in the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah?
It used to be I'd find one every year and watch and time them. And I'm thinking it's 21 days, and that's the full cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And they leave on the 21st day.
Everything
I
over.
check them in the morning and the evening, and on that 21st day, they're gone.
Wow.
Yeah, it's,
It's time to leave the
that's one of
nest
the interesting
undone.
things to me, how Mother Nature works.
Yeah,
Maybe
Everything's
Mom
on a
says she's
timetable,
done.
and it's
That's
exact.
right.
When they come back in the spring, when they leave in the fall,
yeah, they're
it's-
regular.
they're as regular as can be. Not just hummingbirds, but almost everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many eggs do they usually lay?
How many eggs do they?
How many? Two.
Two?
They lay one and they don't sit on it. And the next day, they lay the second one. Then she starts sitting on them.
Okay.
They're about the size of a jelly bean.
Yeah.
They're so
Oh,
tiny.
that's pretty good.
They are.
Very nice. God.
I seen 3 in a nest once,
Did you?
but that's the only time we're
Yeah,
seen,
very
there's always
unusual.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably
Usually-
2 females. Could have been.
Usually when there's 3, they take one out. The babies, when they hatch, they'll kick the third one out because there isn't room in that little bit of nest.
Till they start growing and pushing it open, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a change in our changes in the weather now? The seasons are kind of getting a little strange in the migration of these birds and butterflies through the area,
You can't wait.
and their food supply.
I'm sorry.
The migration of a lot of these butterflies
Yeah.
through the area and birds in the spring, has it altered their food supply and their migration patterns with the
Yeah,
changes in our
most
weather?
things that migrate like that have a, I don't know if it's a design route, but there's food all along the way, both ways, when they come
Even
back.
if we have like an earlier spring or late spring
I
and
don't,
they don't
that I
have the
could
food
not tell you,
supply?
I'm not sure. But I think they do fine. I mean, you know, even here, when a lot of the migrants, not necessarily the hummingbirds, but a lot of the migrants will get a couple of heavy snows. Don't seem to bother them any.
Have a good day.
And they're not used to it there.
And they still find food.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They still find food even if it's an
Yeah.
off year,
And migrating birds remember from one year to the next where they're gonna find food in a yard, because they'll come right to it. You know, I had a blue jay come into my yard a few years ago, and he showed up one year, and I fed him peanuts all winter. Well, then the next spring, I always put the peanuts on a little table we got on the deck. Next spring here, he's bouncing around that deck looking for his, he's been gone all winter. And the next year, here he did it again, that was the last it's gonna be.
Shelled peanuts or unshelled?
Unshelled.
Unshelled?
Yeah, they like, the blue jays like them, and the shell.
And the shelled.
They'll eat
fun.
either one, but.
And it's fun to watch, see how many they can carry.
You know what?
It's fun to see how many they can carry.
Yeah, up in the range where we got our feeder, the Stellar's jays, how a Stellar jays knows what a peanut is, because they sure as hell haven't seen them. But they do, you know, they'll come right to it. But anyway, they will get on the feeder and they'll shell a couple. And they'll shove them down their throat, and then they fly off with the one in the shell yet. So they get double duty, you know, they get 2 or 3 peanuts a shot.
Those Stellars will eat anything. Baby chips, they don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're smart.
And they're kind of fun to have around in camps, you
Yeah.
know?
I think they're beautiful. I don't know what they're gonna be called much longer, because they're not gonna be Stellar's jays.
Yeah.
They're changing.
I don't-
70, I think they said. Won't be any man's
They'll
name.
be stellar jays to me.
Yeah, like a blue grouse. It'll be the blue grouse.
Yeah,
Oh,
blue
yeah.
grouse are still bluegrass.
It's gonna be a blue grouse.
I don't understand why these animals can't, these birds can't have a guy's name.
They said a lot of it, the people that they were named after, now this is what I read, a lot of them were very wealthy, and they didn't get their money right. A lot of it was slavery, illegal things, and they don't want the birds connected with those type of people. What the hell, the bird
Don't
care. But they'll always be a Stellar's chase.
You can come out of your tent in elk camp and yell, and here they'll come.
Yeah.
Every morning,
Yeah.
my dog just looks like, what are you feeding them for?
Yeah, we've got a feeder up at the snowmobile parking lot right beyond Bryan Park. And we'll pull up there. Now, not so much the last couple of times, we've been kind of bad this winter, we haven't got up there as much. But we would drive up And all of a sudden, you'd hear them on the other side start squawking, and here they'd come across the road, looking for their peanuts. How the heck
They
they know?
recognize your car? Did they recognize your car?
I don't know. I think they do. I really
Well, you know, and it could be just a car sitting in front too.
Well, Greg was saying that one time he had bluebird boxes up on the Sanger unit along that road. And he had a pair of bluebirds that he was feeding mealworms to. And he said so they would meet him 100 yards down the road. Follow him in, waiting for her to sit over there.
It's on the hood and the hood and the
Really?
mirror. On the
Yeah, the
car.
mirror, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd ride on the car?
Yes. It was just real slow because he didn't drive very fast.
Wow.
But still,
By the time he had
they knew
started.
his
That's
truck.
incredible.
Yeah.
We had
We spoil our birds.
we had a pair of bluebirds that we got up in a nest up southeast of town here. And we went up there and we knew the babies had hatched, so we took some mealworms up there. And I put them in a little container out there. Well, they flew back and forth, never bothered them. And the next time we came, a few days later, there was no mealworms in there, of course. And all of a sudden, here was the female right outside our window, just hovering. Sitting there waiting. Get my bugs out of here. The kids are
How
hungry.
funny.
I don't know I often wonder how smart a bird is. I mean, they're smarter than we give them credit for.
Mm.
They train you.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed over the years, I learned fairly early, was to be amazed at how each species is so good at what they do.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
You hear all this stuff about dumb animals.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a dumb
Those are
animal.
dead long before they didn't make it. Yeah, that's very true. They've got their niche and they're perfect at it.
Yep.
Well, even the nest, you know,
Yeah.
that there's, each bird has a different type of a tree.
And a different
And
type of a
if they
nest.
all wanted the same tree, can you imagine having a nest, what the fighting and everything would be about, you know, it just,
Well, I suppose we gotta be at Sukasa by noon today. Can't miss that.
Thank you.
Are we going?